Hey, so it's been a little bit since I posted a video, and I know I start every video by saying that, but it's always true. Hopefully not for much longer though. A lot of things have changed since my last video. I'm in a different apartment, still in Brooklyn. I have much longer hair, and I actually have a plan for YouTube. So that's wild. I think I needed a little break to reflect on what I want to do with this channel, because a lot of times I feel like I'm pressuring myself into making stuff that I don't really feel competent enough to make. I don't feel knowledgeable enough to make. And then I started thinking maybe I didn't want to make videos anymore, and then I started thinking like that would make me really sad because this is a community I really care about. But I'm looking to create more of a community around my videos. And that's kind of the thing that is disheartening about my channel right now, is that I don't have the community I want to be able to talk about the things that I want to talk about. I am hoping to focus my channel a little bit more to be about mental health and things related to mental health and just kind of like self-compassion and all that stuff, because it's something I'm interested in. It's something I'm, learning so that I can be a mental health professional in the future, hopefully. And it's something I just really care about, and I really feel like is useful to talk about and useful to hear different experiences and what works for people and that kind of stuff. Especially because I feel like a lot of the conversations around mental health either discuss in way too much depth like all the suffering that happens with mental illness and just with struggling in general, or it's simplified so much and is kind of looked at with like rose-colored glasses, where it's like everything will be okay even if you feel bad. And sometimes it's just that doesn't sink in, and sometimes you need to be a little bit more real. That's what I'm gonna try to do now. And so if there's anything you want me to talk about, anything you feel like you need advice on, whatever, you can comment and tell me, you can tweet me, you can follow me on Patreon, and I'll answer very specific questions you have if you give me a little bit of money every month. So in a kind of a broad overview of what I want my channel to look like this year, I want to talk about self-love. Wow. I know when people like your friend or your parents or some random person on YouTube is like, just love yourself, you're like, bitch, it's not that easy. And it's not. So I don't want to be the person sitting here and just being like, being happy is as simple as loving yourself. Because listen, we're not brought up in a way that supports us loving ourselves. We are brought up in a society that is constantly weighing us down and telling us we're not good enough and telling us that we have to, kick our own ass all the time. And it sucks, and that's what we're conditioned with. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you things you've already heard. I just want to talk about my own experience and where I'm at. I was fairly depressed in my childhood years for lots of reasons, and it has exhibited itself in different ways at different times. It was just this feeling of like dread and feeling like I wasn't good enough and just hating myself and not even really having the words to explain that, but just being so unhappy with who I was. And obviously I'm still in the process of working on self-love and being compassionate with myself, but I'm at such a better place with it than I used to be. And I really do feel like when I work on myself now and I try to better myself as a person, it's coming from a place of knowing that I love myself and knowing that I deserve that compassion with myself. And I think part of that comes from relying more on reassurance from myself than from other people, and relying more on what I think of myself than what other people think of me. And a lot of that came from switching the way that I think about myself. I used to conceptualize myself as only being as good as I felt I impacted other people. Like if I perceived that someone didn't care about me, which was already just in my head, that meant I wasn't worth love from myself or from other people. And then I realized that's not what it's about. I have more worth than I think I'm worth to other people. And it's great to have people around you who make you feel cared for, but it's really hard to feel that when you don't actually believe it yourself. And that's not something that other people can fix by liking you or caring about you or validating you. That's something that, like, you have to figure out on your own and you have to work through on your own. And you really have to sit there and say, like, I want to be my own best friend. I want to support myself because sometimes I'm the only person I can count on when my brain is doing ridiculous shit. And part of it is just looking past the kind of like romanticization of hating yourself, because we really have that where we're like, haha, I hate myself. It's not cool. It sucks if you really feel that way about yourself, but it's not something you should like be content with and brag about and like make a joke about. I think like actually caring about yourself and working on yourself, feeling compassion for yourself, like that's the cool thing, guys. So that's part of what I want this video to be, is just being like, hey guys, self-love is cool. It's hard to accomplish. It's something that, you know, I think all of us are going to be working on for the rest of our lives, but it's good. And I think when you finally reach a point, like you don't even really realize when it happens, but you reach a point where you care so deeply for yourself and you like sit back and you're like, damn, like I really do think I love myself. That's different. And I think there are different ways that you can achieve that. And part of that is just not relying on other people to instill it in you, because that's not how it works. And I think some of it is just really training yourself to hear the thoughts in your own head and stop and be like, that's not okay. We don't say that. It doesn't make me feel good to say that. In more recent years, what has been a source of hatred for myself has been invalidating my own feelings, thinking like, oh, like I'm bad because I feel these things. That's something I want to talk about in a later video, because like, man, I've had some revelations figuring that shit out. And that's something where when I started being like, why am I like this? Like, this isn't how normal people act. Like, I wouldn't be doing this if I were a good person. That's when you need to train yourself to recognize that you're thinking those things and then respond to them. And be like, no, it's okay. It's okay. And kind of like accepting yourself for who you are and how you feel things and, you know, what triggers you. You have to truly understand where things are coming from. I thought the answer to stopping hating myself and being a happy person and overcoming depression or whatever was you have to understand the problem and then you have to fix it. Wow. This, and I'm not even saying this ironically, like that was a big shock. And maybe everyone already knew that that's not healthy and that's not the way to approach things. But I didn't know that. And it was like wild to me that I don't have to fix feelings. Like, I don't have to be like, how do I get this to stop? Here's why it's happening. Here's why it shouldn't be happening. And here's how I'm going to fix it. Like you can just be like, okay, I'm feeling this thing and I'm going to take care of myself, and I'm going to strive to take care of myself instead of striving to correct myself. And I think once you do that and once you learn how to take care of yourself the way you want others to take care of you, that's when you start really loving yourself and really understanding yourself and really appreciating yourself and your own feelings and your own experiences. Wow. Everyone has their own shit, and once you understand that about yourself and understand that that doesn't mean you're, you know, worthless or whatever, you kind of like radiate that feeling of like acceptance, and it feels good to like live in that. And obviously this doesn't mean that I don't get insecure, and this doesn't mean that I don't, you know, beat myself up sometimes, but it's knowing how to react to that instead of just wallowing. This is really the first time in a long time that I've like looked at myself and been like, yeah, I like this girl. Anytime I sit back and really like look at myself, regardless of how I'm feeling or what I'm going through, I can see that I'm still good. Even in situations like I'm in now where I kind of feel lonely and helpless and confused, these circumstances don't say anything about who I am, because I already know that these circumstances are separate and they don't represent anything about my internal being. Not everything is solved, and you're still gonna feel bad sometimes and you're still gonna be insecure, but it makes dealing with those feelings so much easier. I hope that was helpful. I hope that made literally any sense, and I hope that wasn't just me like rattling things off that you've heard a million times. If it was, my bad. Again, if there's anything you want me to talk about, let me know. I will try to incorporate it in some videos. I also have a Patreon, which allows you to give a monthly payment to me. Can be anywhere from like 1 to, you know, however much money you want to spend. And it just takes that out of your account monthly and helps support me in being a college student who's also trying to make videos and help people. And there are some cool perks that you can get. And that's the kind of stuff that like really motivates me, because it's people who are invested and see like purpose in what I'm doing. If nothing else, it just puts pressure on me to create things, because that's what people are supporting me for. So if you want to join that, the link will be on the screen and in the description or something. I don't remember. I think that's it. Yeah. See you next time I make a video.